Okay, I'm back. I super glue cuts. I'm not suggesting that's okay to do. I'm not suggesting you do that. I just am telling you that that's what I have a tendency to do. Seems to get me back in the game. The rough abraders are really bad, you know, on obsidian. And you need to keep your pressure tools and any copper you use very slick. Some people have, you know, a set of stuff they use just for obsidian because any roughness on your tools will just tend to make a split start on the edge or something, and you can just split your piece in half really easily. I really haven't tended to have that problem with other materials, but I definitely have experienced it before with obsidian. And if you live in an area that only has obsidian, no, I'm not knocking your favorite rock. That was a pretty good flake. I've got a plano convex thing here. You know, this side's flat and that side's humped. And at some point, I need to just bite the bullet and turn the edge and deal with that, but I just am not doing it yet. You know, you can do some interesting little stuff with the indirect too if you're ever considering, you know, turning an edge and just beveling it, and you decided instead you really would want to take longer flakes and feather them in while at the same time slightly raising the edge. It's pretty easy to do that kind of stuff with indirect. Not saying you'll ever want to do that, but you could. There's my little edge on the that little crack thing. Like I say, I don't know where I'm going with it. Kind of feel like shooting a big flute up the center of this thing just for grins. Not really a flute, but I wonder what will happen if I do that. It fanned out because I don't have any convexity, which I should have known, right? I have to end up feeling the faces on obsidian. It's interesting when you're doing indirect in that sometimes when you really lock in your support and you're trying to go really flat and hit something a pretty long ways, you can feel it kick back on you. You have to hold it tight because it bucks like a horse. Some of these things are running. I have reduced the plano convexity with about 4 hits. This is going to be another one. I don't know, you see that big old ridge right there, but it actually sinks a little bit right after it starts, so it might be an issue, but we'll see. Can you see it? Not if you can see it. So now what was plano convex is kind of flat, and I didn't even raise that other edge. I'm kind of a fan. That actually, you know, overshot over there, kind of wrapped around. It's pretty interesting to see the results of the hits, you know, sort of immediate feedback. It's fun. What do you think I ought to make out of this? A show of hands, you know, who thinks I should do an Angostura? And who thinks it ought to be an Andice? That's a bad thing about these YouTube videos, you know, it's one-way communication, so. Well, I have not ruined this rock. It has character, sort of. One thing you gotta watch with obsidian too is it's slippery. So when you go doing stuff, especially like with pressure, man, you want to make sure them edges are abraded, because if your point slips, all it takes is for your point to slip toward the edge right as you're trying to take a flake, and all of a sudden you just messed up. I've gotten where I'm a flake snob. I mean, it's a shame, but you know, originally I was just trying to make a point in the shape I wanted to make it, and then I got to where I wanted to have a cool flaking look to it and wanted a bunch of percussion flaking on it, and now I hate taking any flakes that are short or small because I feel like it's messing up my big, just a few giant flake pattern. And of course, when you try to start changing things to have that sort of an outcome, it makes things exponentially harder. Well, I don't even know why I've got the camera on. To me, it doesn't make any sense to subject you to this tediousness. I could tell you stories about my childhood or something, I guess. But that doesn't seem prudent. I don't remember seeing a lot of obsidian andices online though. See, that's another problem I have. I haven't really gone online and studied up on and memorized the point types from the places where obsidian has been worked a lot. That was a nice flake. Still have a semi-sexy pattern on this side. They both kind of look okay, but it's not thin. I'm not there. I think I'm going to turn this off and leave you alone. Maybe I'll take a break for a few days or something. It's supposed to get cold here by our standards, and so I'll just leave you alone and show up again some other time. Bye for now. Freeze cracked.